Hey folks, Quilly18 here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program, and welcome to perhaps one of the weirdest payloads I have launched into space in terms of look. It's actually so oddly shaped, I cannot get a fairing to wrap around it. Let's go ahead and launch while I talk about the mission. Once again, I'm going to let the autopilot handle the launch so that I can talk about the mission while we do that and save a bit of time. So obviously, we still have plenty of people buzzing around Duna right now. And in fact, I have a couple of missions for Duna, like to land again and to plant a flag. So there's definitely some money to be made there. And money is more and less what I'm looking for, which is why I'm going to focus on missions for the next few episodes for sure, instead of just doing, you know, what vaguely looks kind of interesting here. But I do have a mission to put a base on the moon, which is what this is all about. Now, for the base on the moon, all I need is the central bit. I've got a couple of scientists packed into my science lab. I've got enough capacity to meet the contract requirements, an antenna, all those things. I should be able to meet the contract perfectly fine as soon as I land this bad boy on the moon. But I have another mission, which is simply like another, you know, land on the moon, make a manned mission to the moon, which I think is from the Advanced Progression Contract Pack. And what I like about that one is it actually requires me to use a pilot for that, because in the current version of Kerbal Space Program, there's no reason to ever use a pilot, really, when you can just go Probe Corps plus Scientist, because the Probe Corps plus Scientist can do everything the pilot can, plus a wee bit more. So that is pretty awesome. But the Advanced Progression Pack requires specifically to complete some of these manned mission contracts that you use a pilot for, and I like that it sort of, you know, pushes that. Hopefully there'll be a rebalance later on that makes pilots a little bit more useful, but for now we'll take what we can get. So, and that mission requires me to not only land a manned mission on the moon and put down a flag, but it requires me to return someone home. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this whole bad boy on the moon, and then my pilot that's in here is going to be able to separate from the moon base and return home, hopefully, cross our fingers, and then we'll be able to switch back to the moon base. And it's a mobile moon base with wheels. We'll be able to rove around from biome to biome, collecting more and more science, processing it in the science lab, and sending it home for basically unlimited amounts of science at this point, which will be really nice, assuming we can successfully take off here. This is a really wackily shaped thing. It would be nice if I could have put a fairing, but it just sticks out so far. Maybe there's some other sort of orientation or configuration I could have come up with, but we'll do what we can. So, we hopefully have enough total Delta V to get all this done. It is a pretty demanding payload. We'll see what we can do. But so far, the launch profile is good. So what's interesting, too, and part of the reason I had to have this sticking out the side, now obviously if I'm launching to return home on a base that's on its wheels, then I need that orientation. But not only that, when I actually do my landing, I want to land on these wheels. I'm not going to be landing straight up and down. So I actually have to be able to right click on something and say control from here, something that is sideways like this, so that my nav ball and all my coordinates rearrange themselves to that, because my actual landing is going to be using these little twitch engines that are here and here. And here's my one fuel tank for my mobile base. So what's very important at this point is that this stage here has enough fuel once we get to the moon to kill my horizontal speed as much as possible, because I don't have quite enough Delta V in this stage to actually perform the full deorbit from lunar orbit and landing. It's got about 600 and change Delta V, and I think I'm basically going to need about 800. So I need to have enough Delta V left in this tank here to actually be able to slow us down. I want to be able to kill basically all my vertical motion using this tank, and then just use the twitch ones in this tank over here to kill whatever vertical motion we have left after that. It's a big risk. We might be, you know, pancaking our mobile base, but we'll see how it goes. We have enough staging over here. Our orbit, we're about to get into it. We have a lot of juice. This is basically going to be our trans-lunar stage, and this is basically going to be our hit the brakes once we get to the moon stage, which is going to be awesome, which means we're going to have plenty left in the tank. In fact, I probably ended up bringing too much, but I feel much more comfortable bringing too much than too little. So this looks a bit odd. One of the issues, I guess I realized I don't have a ton in the way of batteries. I do have a battery pack somewhere on here, I think. Maybe not. Maybe it's just altogether the electric charge. I don't need tons of battery power, but I do have to make sure, especially for the flight to the moon, that these solar panels are pointing vaguely towards the sun over here. Wow, are we ever burning our energy quite quickly? I guess it's because we are doing the rotation over here. We are on the dark side. We are eclipsed by the by Kerbal, so one way or another, we wouldn't be getting any solar power at this time. I probably should have packed on more batteries, but hopefully everything will be okay. Anyway, we're just going to let MechJeb finish our circularization burn, and then we will plot our path to the moon, which actually... Damn, we basically just missed the sweet spot here with the moon. Because ideally, this looks like a space train, I love it. Ideally, you start your burn towards the moon when you see the moon rise. So we're going to have to orbit the Earth, or Kerbal, one whole time to see the moon rise again, and then hit the juice at that point. There we go. So we're just going to finish a circularization burn with this stage. It should have plenty left in the tank to get us to the moon, and in fact, may be able to insert us into lunar orbit as well. And prepare for camera change momentarily as we officially enter orbit. There it is. Space train. Choo-choo! Alright, so yeah, what we'll do is we'll just time warp to the other side. We're just a little too late on the moonrise. If I'd launched a little, like, 5 minutes sooner. I don't know. So, yeah, you can keep looping around. You can keep spinning right now. It doesn't hurt us. We're not using any SAS other than to run the one probe core, which is... I do have a probe core, don't I? I had it hiding under here, but I just made some changes. It's actually possible that I don't have a probe core anymore. But I do have a pilot, so we're okay. Alright, anyway. So, what we want to do... Moon is up there. We want to time warp to right around here-ish. And then we want to lock ourselves prograde. I think that's a rescue person. Oh, the stupid science things. Warp to here. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. We've got a rescue mission here that we can do. I still have... That's my first space station. That's a space station... Essentia. That's right. KSB Essentia. Can we go any faster? No. Okay, no, that's fine. I don't care about the, like, minuscule amounts of tundra. At some point, I will have to do a flight explicitly above the tundra just to pick up that orbital information so that Science Alerts drops pausing us for that. Because there's these tiny little glitches of tundra around some of the shores that don't make any sense, and you can never, ever get the science out of them quickly enough. Okay, let's kill that. Kill. No. Stop the... Wow! I didn't realize the Warp 2 would actually fight me. Because I was bringing it down, and it's like, no, let's bring it back up again. Okay, let's lock ourselves to prograde using the smartass module. There's the moon. It's going to be just barely in time here. Alright, I'm going to hit the juice now, which will help us steer a little bit better and should lock us to prograde a bit better. There we go. Got a decent amount of fuel in there. That should be fine. So at this point, what we'll do is just zoom out and wait until our orbit intersects the moon. Look how much crap is going around the moon. We've got tons of satellites, little debris. Of course, oh, that's right. I have a space station there. I forgot. For possibilities of refueling. That's the Miss Carcinell over there, which I did to complete a mission and also for awesome, because space stations are cool. I technically have a docking port at the front of this ship. However, it is, I believe, a docking port junior. I actually might be wrong about that. And the Miss Carcinell has the same design as the space station we sent to Duna, which means it does not have a docking port junior on it. I'd have to send an adapter. I'm not sure if this one has it or not. Still, I should not need to dock with the space station. We are just about out of Delta V on this injection stage. Let me go ahead and hit X. Whoa, there. I was gonna hit X before we actually entered the orbit, and then use a little bit of shift. But I think it might have worked out perfectly fine here. So if I give us just a wee bit more juice, because I want to bring this orbit as low as possible, where it's costing me no delta V to do so. Oh, there was a bit of lag there. That was weird. Okay, I'm gonna be very, very, very happy with that. And then when I get near the periapsis. So right around here will be our next maneuver, and it'll be a big retrograde burn to get us into orbit, and then we can go shopping for a landing site. Like so. And then right around there it starts to circularize. Okay. So it'll take 250 delta V for that. I still have 43 left in the tank, so I definitely should keep saving that up. We're coming in not quite equatorially, but good enough. I suppose I could... the ideal place to do that is where? About halfway to the moon, right? Oh, speaking of, we can see the sun is over on the left. So let's go ahead and just rotate ourselves for maximum solar power coverage. Just be on kill rot. And then do that, and actually, if we're fast-forwarding time, then we're not going to rotate anyway. Yeah, we still have plenty of electric charge. Yeah, you can see how many components we've got on here. Oh yeah, and of course, the skipper engine generates electric charge as well. The next stage, I don't believe will. But in a moment, our space train will be in the sun. Boom, there we go. And full electric charge. Excellent! So yes, I believe if I wait until I'm around here, that will be the optimal place to do a little bit of normal, anti-normal. But you know what? I'm not going to bother. We're close enough to an equatorial orbit. It's going to be perfectly fine. I'm not looking for an exact rendezvous of anything. So we're going to be alright. So I guess the thing to do now is just to warp until we get to the sphere of influence change. And then the question will be, can we land this crazy-ass thing on the moon? And again, it'd be nice to land in a new biome, but in theory, it doesn't actually matter because I can roam around. Although, it would be nice if when we send back Valentina, that we actually send her back with some physical science as well. Like, it is perfectly fine if I just stuff the science in my science lab, process it, and then transfer it from time to time. But it would be better. I'm really surprised that I didn't put a battery ring on this. Transmitting is going to be a little annoying, although ultimately fine. Just retract that ladder before landings, so it doesn't break. And the reason I don't have extendo solar panels is because moving, well, mostly I think it was when I was testing on Kerbal. If you move at any speed in an atmosphere with extended solar panels, they tend to snap off. This should be sufficient, although I sort of wish I'd put a couple of extendo ones on, just because they do generate more power. Still, that should be sufficient. Obviously, this whole thing will have to be dormant at night, though. Anyway, we have not, I believe, actually entered the sphere of influence in the moon yet, because the nav ball is not, there we go, is not pointing the way you would expect. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is basically warp to our maneuver, which is over here. Actually, I'm going to cancel the maneuver. The maneuver is just basically for planning purposes. What we're really looking to do is just burn retro at our periapsis and eyeball things. So we'll warp a little bit closer to it. And we'll be turning retrograde, obviously. Okay, we'll be doing this partially eclipsed by the moon, but we should have plenty of fuel in the tank once we finish this rotation. We use a lot of power while we rotate. But that's about it, and then it goes mostly dormant. And we'll have to be ready to stage as well. Now, I don't know if you can stage from this view. So we'll do it here. So we are approaching our periapsis. And it's not going to take much burn. Okay, I'm going to go... So the next stage is indeed the correct one there. Let's go full throttle. Separate. So this stage does not generate power. Or it does! Really? Oh, so the Terrier does not generate power, but the Poodle does, apparently. That is very interesting. I did not realize that. Bring us down. Once the Peri starts to get pushed away. Actually, we're slightly past it, so it'll get pushed the other way. This looks like a pretty optimal burn spot. Bring our Apo... Yeah, once they start to flip like that, there. Well, it's because we're past our Peri. Okay, good enough. Good enough for now. Ideally, what would be really nice is if we decide to get a landing spot near our periapsis, because burning from the Apo would be more efficient, which would be even more efficient to have the Apo further out. But I am happy with this. Ideally, we do want to land in a sunny spot. So we've got our solar panels, but more importantly, actually, than the solar panels themselves, is landing in the sun gives us a shadow, which we can use to target things. So that's going to be okay. I got to keep this orientation for now. So, if we do want to land in one of these sunny spots, we'll basically be doing a retro burn, well, probably right around here, actually. Again, it'd be nice to land in a new biome. But see, just something like that. Get down sort of as low as possible. Find a nice flat spot while we're really low, and then fully brake. Now, I don't know what... I guess I can check here. Okay, so we might miss it on this orbit, but that's okay. I open up the ScanSat and the big map. And so make sure we're the moon, and that our map type... This is so laggy. Is set to biome. I mean, we'd also like a flat spot, too. But we've landed in the Highlands Craters. We have a flag for that. And I guess I didn't actually... See, I like putting the name of the biome in parentheses like this. Yeah, beware the Kraken. I think I had something really weird happen there, and I can't remember what it was. I think I, like, hopped off a... Did I hop off the capsule and then fall through the ground? It was some... And then get blasted into space? It was really weird. I had to revert. Pretty sure that was not televised, which is too bad, because it would have been pretty awesome. So we'll just check. I guess I can mouse over here. It looks like one of these is in the Highlands, one of these is in the Midlands, and that was the Highlands Craters. So if we could land... Farside Crater would be okay. Or the Northwest Crater, that would be new. Actually, I guess any crater other than this Highlands Crater, which is a tiny little blip in the Highlands. We might not actually have any Highlands data. So here's some Highlands, for example, over here. Currently in a dark spot. If I'm going... I guess I'm going east on here, which means... East Farside Crater would be nice. We're a little low here. Or these Highlands. So yeah, what do I do? Right click. And then put a little flag. Sort of like anywhere in this general area. Might not be too shabby. What does that look like? Oh yeah, that's very nice. And we can sort of start to get into position for that right away. Now, ideally, though, yeah, you know what? We'll wait till we're the opposite side of that marker. So we'll warp to there. What, I can go and lead times 5? There we go. Tell you what, let me, I guess I could do it manually. It's okay, since this is being kind of weird. We're going to be on the opposite side of this. We'll burn there, which will lower this point of the orbit, eventually turning into a periapsis. And we'll try to bring it as low as possible, you know, without clipping any mountains, which I think is 7 kilometers. So again, right around here. A little more, I think. Okay, that's going to be pretty good. Okay, yeah, you'll rotate. We'll kill the maneuver node. We don't need that. We're not exactly opposite. There we go. And we're facing retro. Yes. Let's go ahead. You can see the peri is approaching here. Eventually this will become the apoapsis. Peri, how low are we? Oh, we still have some ways to go. Just a little bit of gas. And so this is the low point right here. And it would have been nice to be there, which I could have done if I'd burned better, but also other things. 7K is about as low as I'm comfortable, because I know... I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to clip any landscape, but let's be careful. And then when I get to here, I can actually do a little bit more retro burn at this point, which will drop the apo, but also drop this part. It's maybe not super efficient, but here's the thing. My current stage has tons of fuel left. All this stage here has to bring me down to a 0 surface velocity, which is only 500 meters per second. I've got twice as much as needed, so I think I can afford to do that kind of crazy stuff pretty handily. So we're going to warp to this periapsis. I don't know what that altitude sensor thing was. It was weird. Am I so low I can only go at that speed? Oh, yeah, times 10, below 10,000 meters. Now, this would be a hell of a nice view. Oh, we are definitely going to get close. Power's okay, yeah, even though I'm not facing the sun. I do have, like, a couple of solar panels on there and there, which can stop us from becoming completely sun-screwed, because it's got some extra angles. So this is our low point right here. We are at the periapsis. So if I burn here, we're actually slightly past it. It will lower, well, the rest of my orbital altitude, including over here, which I'm fine with. Lowest point of our orbit is over here. There we go. Now it's basically circularized, just skimming the surface of the moon in a very, very scary way. So I'm going to put a maneuver node roughly above where we are looking to be. I'm just using it as a timer so that I know when we're getting close. We're still retrograde, which is good. Actually, what we want to do is be in surface mode, and we want to be kill horizontal velocity mode, which is almost exactly the same as retrograde. I'll actually turn it off for now. Well, no, I'm in the sun. Doesn't matter. Right? It's almost exactly retrograde, but the important thing is once I actually do stop my horizontal movement, or as my horizontal movement drops, my retrograde will start to point downwards, which we don't want. What I should do is go ahead and rotate myself so my wheels are down right away. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a cut in here, guys. Oh, I'm so dirty. We're going to put a cut in here. And in the next episode, we will see if we can't execute this crazy landing with this crazy design. I think we're going to be fine. We've got plenty of thrust to weight, I think, on our stage here. So, I mean, I don't know. This must recalculate for a current orbital body because I don't have a thrust to weight above 1 on Kerbal. But here in the moon, I have 2.45 thrust to weight, which is lots and lots and lots. The question is, can I keep it stable and actually land in a decent flat area so we don't fall over? We'll have to wait until next time, folks. Bye-bye.